Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Manhattan. I'm Pastor Isabel Call, and I welcome you to this space, which we occupy humbly with love and care for the Ka, Osage, Kickapoo, and other peoples who belong to this land. Our vision is to be a vibrant, inclusive congregation, widely known as a safe haven and a force for social justice. Today, we pause in our pursuit of vibrancy and rest in our vision as a safe haven. Today, this Blue Christmas service is especially for those of us who are not feeling merry and bright right now. If, despite all the decorations, the music playing in shops, the concerts and parties, and the advertising, you don't really feel very much like celebrating, you are in the right place. If the idea that a merry little Christmas is all you need for your troubles to be miles away has a hollow ring, you are in the right place. As you look around today, I hope you'll find comfort and hope in knowing that you are not alone. I hope you'll understand this as a safe haven. Today we'll tell stories, read poetry, and sing together. We'll light candles and settle ourselves. And I want to thank my colleagues, several Unitarian Universalist ministers, and my friend and citizen of the Kanza Nation, Charlie Huffman, for sharing resources for today. I also want to thank Sarah Desmet, Karen Hummel, and Dick Beeman for reading during the service. If you have a joy or sorrow you would like to share with the community, please write it down. We won't be sharing joys and sorrows out loud in the typical way, but we will be sending them out as part of our Tuesday announcements email. If you're here in person, you can find a joy or sorrow form on a box in a seat nearby. There will be a chance during the service for you to give them to me. And if you're here on Zoom, please send Kathleen Oldfather a direct message with your joy or sorrow, or you can email me sometime today, and I will make sure to share it on Tuesday. If you're visiting or you're relatively new to this community, we welcome you especially. This service is a bit different from our regular Sundays, but we hope it will be supportive. Please chat with us after the service, and our greeter, Mary Beth, there in the back of the room, is especially available to answer any questions. We won't be having many announcements today, so please keep an eye on the weekly announcements email. However, I want to give a shout out to the amazing work crew who was here on the grounds and in the building yesterday. So look around and take note of all the great things that they did. We gather here today as hurting people, bringing our pain, our sorrow, and our confusion to this safe space together. We gather today as healing people, acknowledging our wounds, being patient with ourselves, caring for each other. As we sang earlier, we gather here as one strong body in struggle and in power. May Spirit draw near.
Good morning, I'm Sarah Desmet. Our chalice lighting words today are by Jared K. Anderson. I am not okay today. So, in the absence of okay, what else can I be? I can be gentle. I can be unashamed. I can turn my pain into connection. I can be a student of stillness. I can be awake to nature. I can sharpen my empathy against the stone of my discomfort. I am not okay, but I am many worthy things.
Let us now sing together In My Quiet Sorrow. Please be as comfortable as you can. You're welcome to stand up or remain seated. And if you'd like to see the music, it's in the teal hymnal, number 1006, but it's also up on the screen. Thank you. So I invite the young at heart and young in body to come forward to participate in our Time for All Ages. We have a story by Tyler Charlton called The Wave. I'm going to read it, and Sandy is going to sit in the front with the book. Sandy's going to sit in the front and chat with folks about the pictures. How's a good way for everybody to be able to see the pictures? You all should probably go sit near to Sandy so that you can see up there. Do you have the book? I think it's back. Maybe the book is back there, but you can talk about it some more later. We'll review it again when we get back. Okay. The Wave by Tyler Charlton. The last time it happened, I was building a fort. Sometimes I lose my joy and I don't know why. I don't see it coming. I never do. And here I go again. It makes me mad and sad all at the same time. And I want to run away. But you can't outrun a wave. One time the wave washed me into the kitchen cupboard. No one even noticed. Didn't they see the wave take me away? Sometimes I think they did see it, because after a while, someone handed me a graham cracker. All I can do is take care of myself until it passes. I guard my head and my heart, and I watch out for things that could hurt me. One time I didn't guard my heart. I let it harden and I said some mean things. I didn't care. It felt good to be mad. But I hurt my friend. Sometimes I feel all alone. I miss my joy. But I've learned that the water will eventually calm. And the gentle current will begin to carry me back to the shore. When I get to the surface, I know I can ask for help. Remember that. And even though the wave still has me, I can get to my feet. The wave pulls the sand out from under me and tries to hold me, but I keep moving. Remember that. Keep moving. Have a soft heart. Look for the shore. Keep moving, and you'll make it through. And now I'd like to invite Kathy Ray, Executive Director of the Crisis Center, to come and give us an update about the organization.
Good morning. It's really an honor to be here this morning and share with you a little bit about what we're up to at the Crisis Center. This is just such a beautiful space. Thank you for inviting me and welcoming me here this morning. As you were talking about social justice and safe havens, it got my mind thinking about how our missions really do align. And I can't thank you enough for the support that you all give to the Crisis Center and the victims and survivors we serve. So thank you very much for all that you do. I want to just share a little bit. As we were preparing, every year we do a holiday mailing, and many of you probably receive that. I know that the congregation receives it, and I spend a lot of time just reflecting on the year that we've had and share updates with the community about how many people we've served and things that are happening at the Crisis Center. And many of you probably know that we moved into a new safe shelter, in large part because of the support you all have given, the support the community has given. It wouldn't have been possible without that. But we moved in July of 2022. And, you know, we were moving into a larger space with more beds, thinking, you know, we would be able to better meet the demand for our services, which is not something you ever want to say when you provide domestic violence and sexual assault services. However, I don't think we ever expected what has transpired. So I pulled numbers for this year, 2023, so January 1st, and I think they were pulled on December 6th. And in that time, we provided 6,336 bed nights in our new safe shelter. And so just to give you an idea, we were doing about 2,500 in a year in year's time frame in the old shelter. And so, you know, that's kind of what it's been like since we've moved in. And I get a lot of questions about, does that mean more domestic violence is occurring, and do we have more abuse happening? And the abuse and domestic violence have always been there. We're just reaching out to people, trying to make sure they know where to find us, and we have more space. And so people who are in need are certainly using our safe shelter, but that's more than tripling what we were doing before. So with the new shelter, obviously that's some growth, and so we've added some essential staff to provide those services, but we're also looking at what's ahead, right? And so the tripling the bed nights is one piece, but many people don't know that only represents about 30% of who we serve. A lot of the people we serve are outside of our shelter. And we also have 24-hour crisis hotlines. And so our services are available anytime, day or night, and they're completely free. We never charge for any of our services, and anytime somebody needs us, day or night, we're responding. So we also, in that time frame this year, we've answered 1,616 calls on our crisis hotline, and we've served 488 unique new clients, individuals. For those 488 people, that doesn't include us serving them weekly, right? And so that's thousands of hours of services. That's an unduplicated number. So, this time of year, as we reflect and the holiday season is upon us, we ask you to remember. We were talking before the service, and remember those people who are living in a safe shelter over the holidays, who don't have the support, who are living in fear and need a safe shelter just to be safe. I think it also reminds me that our work is not done. We do a lot of work to end domestic violence and sexual assault, a lot of education, a lot of awareness, preventing it before it ever occurs. And it starts at young ages, right? We have those conversations about what is a relationship based on respect and equity? What does that look like? What does that mean? And already this year, we've done well over 40 presentation and awareness events to really get that word out. So next year, we will be adding a text feature to our hotline. So that is a new thing that we are doing to hopefully make ourselves more accessible to people who prefer to text, or people who it's unsafe to have a phone conversation, to call into our crisis hotline. We're also launching Safe Bar Manhattan, which will train bars and other establishments on how to intervene. We know that alcohol is often a weapon that is used to facilitate sexual assault and rape. So we will be providing that education to the bar staff to increase the safety of patrons and also the staff. What do you do when you notice predatory behavior going on? How do you intervene? And so be on the lookout for that, Safe Bar Manhattan. And, we're also going to be just evaluating our programming overall. So right now we have one support group for both people in shelter and people not in our shelter. And so we're going to be offering support group on site at our shelter, as well as support groups out of house, and then looking at providing support groups for loved ones of people who have been sexually assaulted or raped. So parents, partners, people of those natures. So the people who are affected by it, but maybe aren't the direct victim. So we've got a number of things that we're looking at and continuing to try to meet the needs that are out there in our community around domestic violence and sexual assault. But none of that would be possible without your support. And, there are a number of expenses. The majority of our work is grant funded. We receive a lot of state and federal grants, but there are a lot of things that grants won't pay for that aren't allowable. So for example, our Christmas Bureau, where we help victims who are working with us or in our shelter, we help them purchase Christmas gifts. We help provide those Christmas gifts. We have maintenance and repairs at the shelter, which I never anticipated. And I'm looking at Chris Bailey, who's our board president, and Mary Beth, who's actually our vice president. Those when your bathroom floods and you have to do sheetrock, or when you get a hole in the wall by accident. I mean, these things happen. And so those are things that aren't grant allowable. And then, we run out of money. So just last week, I got a request from an advocate. They needed to purchase some safety bars for a door to increase the safety of the house for fear that the abuser would try to break in. And so there are these bars that you can buy we had run out of the grant money that paid for those things. Did we purchase it anyway? Yes, we did, right? And so those are the things where your funds and your support really do keep and sustain these critical services for our community. So I can get long-winded, and that's probably been 5 minutes. I will be here for the service. I also have some cards. If you have questions or would like some additional information, please reach out. If you don't already receive our mailing at the end of the year, let me know, or give me your address and I will gladly add you so you can get those updates from us year round. So thank you so much for all you do. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, Kathy. I invite everyone to donate to the Crisis Center. And this month, all of our unmarked contributions will go to the Crisis Center. You can go to UUFM.net or put your cash in the basket in the back of the room anytime during the service. Even when I'm speaking, that's fine. So I have a simple message this morning. It is okay to be sad. It is okay to grieve. Life is possible because of change, and loss is a part of change. There are some losses, many losses, that feel wrong. The losses that happen when someone has taken something, unjust losses, losses we know could have been avoided but weren't, losses that reveal the harshness, lack of care, even malice of our fellow humans, theft, abuse, manipulation by people who have power in the household, in global governance. These losses test our faith in humanity and threaten our safety. The randomly terrible losses feel wrong too. The mortal injury, the shocking diagnosis. We look for the culprit, an explanation as if that might undo the loss, as if there could be repair. Anything to avoid admitting the senselessness of the loss. And these losses reveal the chaos of existence. It does not feel beautiful to behold that chaos. Wrong or not, loss is a part of us. In Kanza Iye, the language of the people of this land, there is no past tense. There is simply the actual tense and the possible future tense. In the actual tense, what has happened and what is happening are alive in us. There is continuity in the present with the past. And so when something, someone we love is gone, they are actually still here for us. The love is actual, and it lives in language, in the actual tense. I don't really understand the grammar, but I wonder what it would be like to live without the violence of the denial that what I've lost is also always very much here with me. I heard someone say recently that grief is love with no place to go. Grief is love with no place to go. Grief is all the more unmanageable when we do not give it space, when we cut it off in our language, when we try not to cry at all, ever. To love someone we've lost, to love ourselves through the loss, we need space. To love someone who is grieving is to welcome the bigness of their love, to hear them without any correction or solution. To love someone who is grieving is to seek them out even. And if they are very hard to find, at least try to give them a graham cracker. Grief becomes trauma when we cannot move through it. When we do not have the resources, the space, the support, or in the case of abuse, when we are actively prevented from accessing resources, space, and support. So in case you need to hear this, I will say that your trauma is not your fault. Your grief deserves care. You are worthy of the space to heal. Trauma is woven through with grief and can be unraveled gently in the safe havens we create for ourselves and each other. Today, I welcome you to create for yourself and for the others gathered here, and ultimately for our shared world, a safe haven for love, for the actual love of what we have lost, which is very, very much alive.
It's the season of grace coming out of the void, where a man is saved by a voice in the distance. It's the season of possible miracle cures, where hope is currency and death is not the last unknown. Where time begins to fade and age is welcome home. It's the season of eyes meeting over the noise, with holding fast with sharp realizations. It's the season of cold, making warmth a divine intervention. You are safe here, you know. Don't forget, I love you. Don't forget, I love you. It's the season of scars and of wounds in the heart, of feeling the full weight of our burdens. It's the season of bowing our heads in the wind and knowing we are not alone in fear, not alone in the dark. Don't forget, I love you. Don't forget, I love you. Don't forget, forget. Don't forget I love you.
Thank you, Sam Carpenter, Renee Brown. Beautiful. At this time of year, many traditions light candles. This is the second Sunday of Advent, the fourth night of Hanukkah. It makes sense that we light candles as things are getting dark outside. Things are dark inside too, sometimes. Darkness is not inherently bad, but it can feel bad when we are alone. So I invite you to consider the symbol of candles today, not as a promise that the darkness will disappear entirely, but rather as a companion through the darkness, a source of support and guidance with you in the darkness. We will light candles today with words that shed a bit of light onto our experiences of what is difficult. And then we will pause with silence and listen. We have 4 candles to light. We'll hear poetry. And then as we light each of the candles, I will invite you to speak aloud a name or a memory or a word into the space. And then together we will say the words of intention. May you know peace. May we know peace. May I know peace. I'll lead you through this. And after we speak, we will complete each candle lighting together by singing, I know this rose will open. So you'll see the spoken words and the words to the song in your order of service. And Kathleen Oldfather will put the words in the chat if you're here on Zoom. The first candle we light to remember those persons whom we have loved and lost. Hear now the words of Rosemary Watola Tromer.
On Earth, just a teaspoon of neutron star would weigh 6 billion tons. 6 billion tons equals the collective weight of every animal on Earth, including the insects. Times 3. 6 billion tons sounds impossible until I consider how it is to swallow grief. Just a teaspoon, and one might as well have consumed a neutron star. How dense it is, how it carries inside it the memory of collapse. How difficult it is to move then. How impossible to believe that anything could lift that weight. There are many reasons to treat each other with great tenderness. One is the sheer miracle that we are here together on a planet surrounded by dying stars. One is that we cannot see what anyone else has swallowed.
The first candle we light to remember those persons whom we have loved and lost. We pause to remember their name, their voice, their face, the memory that binds them to us this season. Instead of swallowing your grief, I invite you at this time, if you'd like to say their names aloud, giving thanks for their life in yours, in ours. Malcolm. And now let us say together, may you know peace, may we know peace, may I know peace. The second candle we light is to acknowledge the pain of other kinds of loss, particularly those changes that feel like a loss of love or a loss of a core sense of safety and security.
When you meet someone in deep grief, slip off your shoes and set them by the door. Enter barefoot this darkened chapel, hollowed by loss, hallowed by sorrow. Its gray stone walls and floor, you, congregation of one, are here to listen, not to sing. Kneel in the back pew. Make no sound. Let the candles speak.
There are many kinds of loss. The loss of relationships, the loss of jobs with the security they bring, the loss of health in ourselves or in family members, the loss of joy and peace in our lives from the stresses which surround us, the loss of security as we learn of terror or tragedy in our community or the larger world, and the loss and loneliness we experience when our loved ones do not honor the purpose and meaning in our lives. What have you lost that continues to feel like a hole in your life? Perhaps you can boil it down to a word or a phrase. And if you'd like, in the silence of your heart or aloud, you may name these losses and offer them into this circle of care. As we reflect on the losses in our own lives, as well as the countless losses withstood by our loved ones and our neighbors, both far and near, will you join me together in saying, may you know peace, may we know peace, may I know peace. The third candle we light for those who experience a loss of direction or purpose, with the words of William Safford.
There's a thread you follow. It goes among things that change, but it doesn't change. People wonder about what you're pursuing. You have to explain about the thread, but it's hard for others to see. While you hold it, you can't get lost. Tragedies happen, people get hurt or die, and you suffer and get old. Nothing you do can stop time's unfolding. You don't ever let go of the thread.
The third candle we light for those who experience a loss of direction or purpose in their lives. We grieve with them and lift up our prayers and our sense of connection to something greater than ourselves, outside of perception or grasp. Will you join me in saying together, may you know peace, may we know peace, may I know peace. Our fourth candle is for possibility, connection, and gratitude. We light this candle to honor both our power and the fragility of our interdependent lives. We are led in prayer with the words of Lynn Cox.
Spirit of life, ancestor of the stars and the sun, you who embrace the vastness of space and us along with it, be with us today. Hold us in our worry, our exhaustion, our grief. Keep us close as we sit with our truth, whatever that may be. Lead us to rest in the quiet, to find solace and renewal in this time of shifting light and dark. You, whose arms open with the spinning galaxies, help us to make room as you do for all that is. Open our hearts to our loved ones, our neighbors, the beings with whom we share this planet. Lead us to reach out to others in compassion. Turn us toward one another in mercy, right relationship, and reconciliation. You who have seen the rising and setting of suns, of seasons, of civilizations, remind us of all we have learned from the history of the world and from our own histories. Give us the courage to face our mistakes and to repair them whenever possible. Help us understand our interdependence, our gravitational relatedness with all the other spinning lives around us, and lead us to treat those relationships with care in this space filled with people among us who shine like stars, this space filled with the sparkle of love and care. We give thanks for this moment to be together. May our senses be open to the beauty of this day, this season, this world. Blessed be.
The fourth candle we light to honor both our power and the fragility of our interdependent lives in the spirit of possibility, connection, and gratitude. And as Dick lights our final candle, I invite you to say your own name into the space we have created together. Let us say together, may you know peace, may we know peace, may I know peace. We have taken time to acknowledge loss. You may want or need more time, and you may have other feelings or other forms of grief. So I invite you into personal reflection now. We will have some music on the piano and then a period of silence. During the music and during the silence, here are some things that you can do. You can simply sit and listen. Listen to the piano, to the room, to your heartbeat, to your emotions. You could also come up to the front of the room and pick up a stone. Perhaps the stone symbolizes a thought or an emotion you have found here today. You can take the stone with you or keep it in your pocket to help you remember. Perhaps the stone symbolizes a loss in your life, and you would like to honor or acknowledge it and let it be held in the embrace of this community. In that case, you may drop the stone into the water. Notice the ripples and let the ripples remind you that what touches one of us affects all of us. Your loss matters. You might have another strong emotion, including a joy, to acknowledge. Feel free to come to the front of the room, to take a stone or drop a stone in the water to symbolize any feeling that you're having. This is your ritual, so feel free to engage with it in a way that feels right to you. You can also use this time to write down a joy or sorrow you'd like me and the caring team to know about. If you're here in person, you can bring it to me, or if you're on Zoom, you can send a note directly to Kathleen. And if you'd prefer that I not share your joy or sorrow in our weekly announcements, just let me know, and I will simply hold it. So now we'll move into a time of reflection. There will be music and then silence. You're welcome to come up at any time to share your joys and sorrows with a stone, with a paper. And for those of you on Zoom, I encourage you to listen and breathe and reflect silently. our formal service is coming to a close. However, this sanctuary will remain a quiet place for reflection. If you're here in person, I welcome you to stay in your seat after the closing words and the postlude for as long as you'd like. And whenever you're ready to move into conversation, I ask that you leave the sanctuary quietly and wait until you're in the Allsop Fellowship Hall for chatting. I'll ask that the first person who leaves, will you shut the door for us so that we can stay quiet in here. If you're here on Zoom and need more reflective time, I suggest that you log off after the postlude ends, and Zoom folks are welcome to start chatting after the postlude. Anyone and everyone, please know that I'm available as a listening ear if your grief calls for sharing. You can call or text me for support or stop by my office later after the service or during my Tuesday office hours. And if you don't talk to me, talk to someone else. You are loved and you are worthy of care. Our closing words are a reprise of the Time for All Ages, the wave. I've learned that the water will eventually calm and the gentle current will begin to carry me back to the shore. When I get to the surface, I know I can ask for help. Remember that. Have a soft heart. Look for the shore. Keep moving. And you'll make it through.